Good morning, Mark. It is so strange to see you here on a Saturday.
Good morning, Anna. It feels strange to be here. The office is so quiet and empty. I think we are the only two people in the whole building.
It does make a nice change from the usual busy weekday atmosphere. Thank you again for agreeing to come in and help me with this special project. I really appreciate you giving up your weekend morning.
It is no problem at all. I was happy to help. And I must say, my journey to the office this morning was amazing.
Really? What was so amazing about it?
There was absolutely no traffic. The roads were empty. It took me half the usual time to get here. It was a dream. It made me think about how much of our lives we spend just traveling to and from work.
That is so true. Our daily commute is such a big part of our routine. It can really affect your mood for the whole day. How do you normally get to work? I do not think we have ever talked about it. I can start. My commute is all about public transport. I am a big fan of the Vienna public transport system.
So, you do not drive to work?
No, I do not even own a car. I sold it a few years ago because I realized I did not need it in the city. Public transport here is so efficient.
Can you describe your journey for me? What is your daily routine?
Of course. I live in one of the outer districts of the city, so my journey starts with a short 5-minute walk from my apartment to the nearest U-Bahn station. The U-Bahn is our subway or underground system.
And is the U-Bahn usually on time?
It is incredibly reliable. A train comes every 3 to 4 minutes, so you never have to wait for a long time. I get on the U6 line and I travel for about 7 stops.
Do you have to change trains?
Yes, I get off at a big station and then I have to change to the U3 line. That is usually the busiest part of my journey. Then I travel 3 more stops on the U3.
And what about when you arrive at the final station?
The station is very close to our office. From the station exit, it is only about a 5-minute walk to our building. So, in total, my entire journey from my front door to my desk takes about 45 minutes.
45 minutes? That seems quite reasonable for a big city. And you say you are a big fan of it. What do you like about using public transport for your commute?
There are many advantages, in my opinion. The biggest advantage for me is that I do not have to do anything. I can just sit or stand and let the driver do all the work.
So it is less stressful than driving?
Much less stressful. I do not have to worry about traffic. I do not have to worry about finding a parking space. And I do not have to concentrate on the road. I can just relax.
What do you do with that time on the train? 45 minutes is quite a long time.
I actually use that time very productively. It is my personal time before and after work. In the morning, I usually read a book on my Kindle. It is a wonderful, quiet way to start the day. I probably read 2 or 3 extra books every month just because of my commute.
That is a brilliant way to use the time.
It is. In the evening, I am usually a bit more tired, so I listen to music or a podcast. It helps me to unwind and separate myself from the working day. And of course, a huge advantage is the environmental aspect.
The environmental aspect?
Yes, taking public transport is much better for the environment than driving a car. It helps to reduce air pollution and traffic congestion in the city. I feel good knowing that I am making a more eco-friendly choice.
Those are all very strong arguments in favor of public transport. It is productive, it is relaxing, and it is good for the planet. But it cannot be perfect. There must be some disadvantages, right?
You are absolutely right. It is not always a perfect experience. There are definitely some cons, or downsides.
What is the biggest downside for you?
The biggest one is definitely how crowded it can be, especially during rush hour. Rush hour is the busy time in the morning and evening when everyone is traveling to or from work.
So, it is hard to get a seat?
Sometimes it is hard to even get a space to stand. The train can get very full. You can be squashed between a lot of other people. There is very little personal space. That is not very pleasant.
I can imagine. That does not sound very relaxing.
It is not. Another disadvantage is that you are dependent on their schedule. While the U-Bahn is very reliable, sometimes there can be delays or technical problems. If there is a big delay, it can make you late for work, and there is nothing you can do about it.
So, you have a lack of control over your journey.
Exactly. And my final small complaint is that you have to walk in all weather conditions. If it is pouring with rain or snowing heavily, that 5-minute walk to and from the station can feel very long and cold.
So, that is the story of my commute. The good, the bad, and the crowded. Now it is your turn. You said your journey this morning was a dream. That must mean you drive a car to work.
I do. My situation is a bit different from yours. I live outside of Vienna, in a smaller town in the countryside.
Oh, I see. I imagine the public transport connections are not as good out there.
They are not. There is a train station in my town, but the train only comes once every hour. If I took the train, my total journey time to the office would be almost an hour and a half.
An hour and a half each way? That is 3 hours of traveling every day. That is far too long.
It is. So for me, driving is really the only realistic option. It is much faster. My journey usually takes about 1 hour, or as I discovered today, only 30 minutes on a Saturday.
So you have quite a long drive every day. Do you come directly into the city on the motorway?
Yes, I take the A1 motorway for most of the journey, and then I have to navigate the city streets for the last few kilometers to get to the office.
That last part of the journey must be the most challenging part.
It is. The motorway is usually fine, but the city center can be very slow and stressful.
So, what do you like about your commute? What are the advantages of driving your car every day?
I think the biggest advantage for me is the comfort and the privacy. I am in my own personal space.
I can imagine that is a big contrast to my crowded train.
It is. I have a comfortable seat. I can set the temperature exactly how I like it with the heating or the air conditioning, and I have my own personal sound system.
So you are the DJ of your own car?
Exactly. I can listen to my own music or my podcasts as loudly as I want. I can sing along, and nobody will give me a strange look. It is my private little bubble.
That does sound very nice. What are the other pros?
Another big advantage is the convenience and flexibility. My car is a door-to-door service. I leave my own house and I arrive directly at the office. There is no walking to a station or changing trains.
That is a very good point. It is much more direct.
And it also means I can carry things easily. On the days I go to the gym after work, I can just leave my big gym bag in the car. Or if I need to stop at the supermarket to buy groceries on the way home, it is very easy to do. That would be very difficult to do on a crowded train.
Those are all excellent points. The comfort, the privacy, and the flexibility of a car are definitely big advantages. But I am sure there must be some major disadvantages too.
Oh, there are. There are definitely a few big cons to my commute. And the number one biggest disadvantage is the traffic.
The infamous traffic jams.
Exactly. On a normal weekday morning, the traffic coming into the city is terrible. Sometimes I can get stuck in a traffic jam for 20 or 30 minutes. I do not move at all. It is incredibly frustrating and stressful.
And it is completely unpredictable. You never know if your journey is going to take 1 hour or 1.5 hours.
Precisely. It makes it very difficult to plan your morning. Another big disadvantage is the cost. Driving a car is very expensive.
I can imagine. The price of petrol is very high right now.
It is, and it's not just the petrol. You also have to pay for car insurance, taxes, and regular maintenance like new tires and oil changes. It all adds up to a lot of money every year.
And what about parking? It is almost impossible to find a parking space in this part of the city.
And if you do find one, it is very expensive. Luckily, our company has an underground car park for employees, but we have to pay for it every month, and it is not cheap. That is another big cost that you do not have.
So, my commute is cheaper, but more crowded. And your commute is more comfortable, but more stressful and expensive. It seems like there is no perfect solution.
It seems that way. I was just thinking, some of our colleagues have found a third option. A few people in my department cycle to work every day.
That is true. I see them arriving in the morning. I am always so impressed by them. Cycling is a fantastic option if you are brave enough.
What are the advantages of cycling? The most obvious one is that it is a great form of exercise.
It is. You are combining your commute with your daily workout. It is very efficient. It is also completely free, apart from the cost of the bike. There is no petrol to buy and no tickets. And of course, it is the most environmentally friendly option of all.
So it is healthy, it is cheap, and it is green. What are the disadvantages?
I think the biggest one for me would be the weather. Cycling in the beautiful sunshine is one thing, but cycling in the pouring rain or in the snow during winter does not sound very enjoyable.
I agree. You are very exposed to the elements. Another challenge is safety. You have to be very careful sharing the road with all the cars and trams.
And the final problem is that you can get very hot and sweaty, especially in the summer. Our office is very lucky because we have showers that cyclists can use, but not every company has that facility.
So, We have analyzed all the options: public transport, driving, and cycling. It seems that every single one has a clear list of pros and cons.
It really does. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. The best choice really depends on your personal circumstances.
It depends on where you live, how far your journey is, and what you value the most. Do you value speed, comfort, cost, or the environment?
It is a personal decision. This makes me think of a fun question. If you could invent your own perfect dream commute, what would it be? There are no limits of technology or money.
My dream commute. I love that question. Okay, I think my dream commute would be to have my own personal teleportation device.
A teleportation device? Like in Star Trek?
Exactly. I would just step into a machine in my house, press a button, and I would instantly appear at my desk in the office. It would take 0 seconds, it would be free, and it would be completely stress-free.
That is a brilliant answer. It is very hard to beat that. I do not think my dream commute can be as imaginative.
What would yours be?
My dream commute would be a beautiful, old-fashioned Viennese tram, but it would be a special, private tram. It would pick me up right outside my front door. Inside, there would be a very comfortable armchair, a small library of books, and a machine that makes perfect coffee. And it would travel on its own special track with no other trams, so it would never be late.
A private luxury tram. That is a very stylish and comfortable dream commute. I like it very much.
We can dream, can't we? But for now, I have my crowded U-Bahn, and you have your stressful traffic jams.
I suppose we do. It has been really interesting to hear about your journey, though. I have a much better appreciation for the pros and cons of public transport now.
And I feel the same way about driving. I always thought that driving was the easy, comfortable option, but I did not really think about the stress of traffic or the high costs of parking and petrol.
We always think the grass is greener on the other side, but it seems everyone's commute has its own challenges.
That is very true. Well, our coffee break is almost over. We should probably get back to our special Saturday project.
You are right. This has been a nice little break from work. It was a much more interesting conversation than I expected to have on a Saturday morning in the office.
I agree. It is nice to just have a casual chat. It makes being here on a weekend a little bit more pleasant.
It certainly does. Okay, I am ready. Let's get back to work.
Let's do it. And we can dream of our teleportation devices and luxury trams on our real commutes on Monday morning.